miss something, overlook something, and thanks to an outside person who pointed it out, we were able to see that, hey, you know what, I did miss it. I did, thank you for pointing it out because I hadn't seen it the way that you did it. So I think that 21 is something that, you should look at. As far as the consideration rescinding the city proclamation of the LGBT Pride Month for June 2013, when I was here the last time, I have no qualms about saying that I'm a Christian. I don't have any qualms about saying that I believe what the Word of God says, the Holy Bible. I have no qualms about saying that I believe what God has stated in there. But I think if you recall last time that I was here, Mayor Gorola and council members, with number 22 read tonight, consideration rescinding the city proclamation of heterosexual marriages Pride Month, I would still stand before you tonight to say rescind that, because here's what I see happening with taking one group. There's no question, that it's an issue about sexual preference or orientation or lifestyle, that if you give one whole month to one single group that does good deeds, you only have 11 months left when we have more groups, more than 11 during the whole city of Porterville, that we could not assign them sufficient months to recognize them and to give them the proclamation they so well deserve themselves. So on the basis of that, just, I think number 23, it's a good idea to consider a single resolution that would encompass all of these groups. My reason for that, again, nothing against, people choosing to live their sexual lifestyle different than mine, but I just think that number 22 really is discriminatory. It leaves out all these other groups that should also be recognized for doing just as much as this particular group, if not more. So I would just request that you would reconsider, taking that out so that it doesn't become discriminatory and leave out all of these other good deed doer groups that we have in our city, for which we don't have enough months left in the year to cover them. So again, I just request that you would take a look at that, revisit that, and then I don't, what I have seen in the argument that has gone on in the past couple of sessions and even tonight, when people can't win the argument, they start attacking you personally. They give us, labels, they call us, homophobes, they call us that we hate. That's not true. That's not true. I could very easily work with somebody who's gay. I just don't agree with their sexual lifestyle. So I just would ask you to consider who's doing the, attack of or mischaracterization of what group. And you'll notice that we who are Christians have not done that to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Mayor Gorola, Councilman. I'm going to C.C. Townsend. The LGBT proclamation bears the common and the official seals of the City of Porterville. According to the City Charter, these type of documents must first be approved by a majority vote of the Council. The LGBT proclamation only has the approval of the Mayor. This is a violation of the City Charter. On these grounds alone, the proclamation must necessarily be rescinded in order to maintain the integrity of the Porterville City Council. To add to that, I would urge this Council to understand that the core issue of this debate is our present and future ability to exercise our freedoms of speech, of conscience, and of religious expression in the marketplace. We still at present are protected by law when we voice our religious convictions regarding the homosexual lifestyle. But even under that protection, look what's happening. Our freedoms are being aggressively removed by those whose battle cry is to silence our voice, to remove our voice out of the public square. When this type of intolerant worldview takes hold, it can degenerate into a type of fascism. Outrageous, you might say? Consider an assertion by President Obama's appointee to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, Chai Feldblum. She said, private thoughts and objections to the homosexual issue should not be tolerated. She is now in the position to enforce her opinion against all employers in the United States with the backing of the President of the United States. For example, Elaine Huguenin, a small photography business owner, she declined to photograph a homosexual union, stating that her Christian belief is in traditional marriage only. Soon after, she was charged with discrimination by the Human Rights Commission on behalf of the lesbian couple and faced a $7,000 fine for violating the rights of the lesbian couple who were demanding she perform a service that violated her conscience. A youth pastor, Stephen Boysen, wrote a letter to the editor in his town stating his objections to the homosexual lifestyle. There was a complaint filed by a homosexual man, and Stephen was brought before the Human Rights Tribunal charged with a hate crime. He was fined $10,000, which was paid to the person that brought the complaint and told to write a public apology and warned not to write anything in objection to the homosexual lifestyle again. Scott Brokey owns a small printing business and chose not to print homosexual material for a couple because it went against his Christian belief. He was brought before the Human Rights Commission and charged with discrimination, fined $5,000, and told that as long as his business served the public, he was advised not to refuse any service to anyone. It is not equality the homosexual community wants. They want to silence religious expression and anyone else who opposes their lifestyle. I would urge this council to not participate in this systematic removal of our constitutional freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute left.
Dennis Townsend.
Your Honor, move to anybody who wants to speak, let them speak.
Absolutely. Dennis Townsend, 44.
Can we have, I'm sorry, I apologize, but can you please ask the point?
So much of what's been debated and reported in the past several weeks, although very important, has really missed the point of the opposition to the proclamation. The procedure for approving and issuing proclamations is not well defined and not specifically addressed in the city charter. Perhaps because proclamations are not legally binding and do not create legal issues affecting the citizens of Porterville. Unfortunately, the simple process became tainted recently, and because that happened, nobody wants to see it happen again. I trust you'll come up with a way to have at least 3 council members consent or unanimous consent prior to issuing future proclamations. More importantly, though, I want to urge you to rescind the proclamation which was made unilaterally by Mayor Garola in June. The proclamation was made, a document was issued, and that's done. And I'm not suggesting you physically take back the certificate. I do believe, however, that it's the duty of the council to rescind the proclamation and set it straight in the record so that the council's actions will be in line with your governing document, which is the city charter. 4 of 5 council members did not sign the proclamation. 3 of those 4 made lengthy statements describing their reasons. Those and the mayor acknowledged that she was acting alone in making the proclamation. In spite of this, it was delivered on a certificate bearing the title City of Porterville. The language included, "Do hereby proclaim the month of June 2013 as LGBT Pride Month in the City of Porterville." Although all agreed the mayor acted alone without council consent, the proclamation was made on city time, on city stock, and on behalf of the City of Porterville. Section 9 of the city charter reads, quote, "All powers granted to and vested in the City of Porterville by law or by the provisions of this charter shall, except as herein otherwise provided, be exercised by the council." Section 12 goes on to state that the consent requires a 3-vote majority. In other words, no single council member, including the mayor, has the authority to act alone on behalf of the city. That is reserved for the full council. Section 4 specifically directs that the authority to use both the common seal of the city, the oranges and the leaves, and the official seal, the foil stamp, is reserved for the City of Porterville alone. That does not include any one member, but a majority of the council. By the inclusion of the City of Porterville title and the language declaring the proclamation for the City of Porterville, and the inclusion of both the common and official seals of the city, the proclamation did indeed become city business. I've been in enough council meetings to understand that this council is concerned about process and proper procedure, and to know that you want to get it right. And I'm confident that none of you wish to operate outside the parameters of the city charter. You will have the opportunity to correct the immediate issue in just a few minutes by voting to rescind the proclamation made by the mayor in June, and I urge you to do so. And in this way, the mistake will be corrected in the record, and then you may address the procedure itself, so that similar incidents do not occur in the future. Thank you. They took about 2 minutes.
Thank you. Next, please. I already told everybody to please stop. We've got them on both sides, so if we can please do this in an orderly manner so that we can get through this and get to who everybody wants, and that's the vote. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilman, and those in attendance. My name is David Harris. 5 generations of my family have lived in Porterville, attended schools here, owned businesses, and been active and involved members of this community. I myself have lived here for 47 years and have been a local business owner for 35 years. I have attended many council meetings, public works project meetings, and community service functions over the years. I never thought I would need to publicly address issues pertaining to the individual's sexual preference at a public city meeting. I also could not imagine there would come a day that individuals voted into public offices would attempt to force their own personal agenda on anyone especially not an entire community or nation. I am opposed to the city of Porterville celebrating any person's sexual preference or choice. Sexual issues are not city or government-based business. The proclamation for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trisexual group was made by one person and does not have the support of the city council or the citizens of this community. Yet it has been endorsed with the official City of Porterville seal. Official acts can only be made when the majority of the council agrees. On these grounds alone, the proclamation should be revoked. The proclamation also did not express the will of the people that elected each of you into office. I respectfully ask each of you, mayor and city council members, to act as a group, not as individuals, and to stay within the legal guidelines of your job description. I pray your decisions as a group will always favor what is best interest of the entire community and include godly counsel and wisdom. This issue has been a waste of city business time, counterproductive. I ask that the proclamation be removed tonight with no further discussion or city business time spent on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, members of council, Rodney Martin, I address this on record. Heard tonight, again, bullies, homophobes, all these Orwellian terms applied to people that are opposed to this proclamation which you made. Frankly, I don't agree with the technical argument that has been levied here against you, Mayor, that there's some technical aspect that required the 3 votes. I don't think that that's been done in the past. So, Mayor, you've taken quite a bit of criticism over this proclamation over on technical procedural ground about it stamped with oranges and all of that. Nobody's ever raised those issues before. And so I think that's wrong merits. I think there's a much broader issue as to why this proclamation should be rescinded. First of all, the governing body can go back and rescind anything it wants. It's within the powers of this governing body. You're the custodians of the public trust. You're a representative body. You're supposed to represent the values of this community and represent the community as a whole. And very clearly, this proclamation is in conflict with the values of this community. We heard some speakers here earlier use that word class, LGBTQ, and I'm getting to realize that the LGBTQ now is getting, it's getting the majority on the alphabet now. Talk about an established class. And should class be designated based on sexual acts? Regardless of what the 9 old swine on the Supreme Court say, that's still up for debate because the people can ultimately decide that and amend even the federal Constitution. Sorry. Power doesn't emanate from the government, and that is the difference between the LGBT movement and the civil rights movement of the 1960s. The civil rights movement of the 1960s came from the people, did not come from the government. This resolution, we hear jeers. We hear insults when people don't like what they don't like what they hear. That's been prevalent. Sorry, Mayor, it's been prevalent over here. We heard a gentleman yell a profanity covered with a cough. Who are the real bullies? I submit to you the real bullies come from the LGBT side and not from the people that want good governance and want you to have proclamations and pass ordinances and resolutions coming out of this body that reflect the values of this community. Rescind it. I don't even think you need to replace it. That this is Councilman Ward's replacement resolution is inclusive. Goodwill towards all, everyone. Whoever says that this isn't inclusive can't read English. Goodwill, charity towards all. It means what it says. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is Christina Harris. 4 generations of my family have lived in Porterville, attended schools here, owned businesses, and been active and involved members of this community. I have heard the supporters of the LGBT group say that their issues are not about sex, that it is about love. That statement is not true. I, Christina, love a woman. I share the most personal and intimate details of my life with her. I hug her. I even say to her, I love you. We are closely connected. She is my best friend of over 35 years. We are not lesbians. Sex is the dividing factor. I do not understand how sex of any style has become a public issue, nor do I agree it should be. As long as it involves consenting adults, an individual's sexual preference is between those adults. It should be private, behind closed doors, not public. This is not, nor has it ever been, an issue that belongs in government, state, county, or city business. This is a personal issue. If individuals want to celebrate anything, it should be done within a group of like-minded people. No community should be forced to acknowledge or celebrate another's sexual preference. I find it disturbing and absurd that sexual issues are even allowed in public meetings. This proclamation should have never been made and should be reversed and rescinded. I do not hate anyone. I do not target people that have different beliefs or lifestyles. I do not try to force my beliefs on anyone. Yet I feel like I am being bullied by the LGBT group. They want to force their personal choices on myself, my family, and my community. I do not believe anyone has the right to force their beliefs on others. Everyone has a right to live the way they choose. No one has the right to push their personal preference agenda upon others. Yes, I am a Christian. I believe these groups continue to force their beliefs and preferences on everyone because they think that if the majority say it's okay, they will feel better about themselves. Deep down, they can never feel good about their choice because God did not create humans sexually to be with the same sex. Just take a second to think about the design of our bodies. The sexual organ parts were created for a man and a woman to reproduce. God did not create people to be homosexual. The world we live in has become very sinful due to individuals choosing to live outside of biblical and moral standards. Whether you believe it or not, believe in God or not, there is coming a day that each of us will be held accountable for our choices and actions. God is the only true judge. I disagree with sinful choices, yet I mercifully pray for the sinner. This is the proper Christian stance. I have compassion and love for those who are lost from our Savior. Please rescind the proclamation.
Thank you. I apologize, I'm not listening to your thoughts on this issue.
Dear Madam Mayor and council members, Laura Brodowski from Springfield.
Can you wait just a little bit?
Say your name again.
Laura Brodowski from Springfield, California. Okay. What is this town coming to when it allows businesses to operate in Porterville that encourage drug use by selling drugs, paraphernalia, and also encourages the use of a cookie in an eating establishment? So tell me this, why did the Porterville's mayor bully us into a proclamation declaring June as an LGBT Pride Month? What are we? What are we celebrating? Sex? Isn't it bad enough that Proposition 8 was not defended by our governor and attorney general who are elected to represent us? We the people passed Proposition 8, simply defending the word marriage to mean the union between one man and one woman. After the Supreme Court punted it on standing, the 9th District Court of Appeals completely disregarded the appeal process, and immediately homosexual ceremonies took place in SF and LA, where the democracy and this process, where is our representative republic? Where is the power of the individual's vote? What about the expressed will of the people through legal process? Just because the state has betrayed its own citizens does not mean Porterville has to follow suit. Stop bullying us. Rescind the proclamation on the 16th. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Lois Guinness, 1148 West Glen Court, Porterville.
Thank you. Open it up.
No.
Thank you.
Honorable council members, concerned citizens, and staff. I speak for many retired citizens, many of whom have become friends in Porterville during the 22 years that my husband and I and our extended family have lived here. We think the proclamation was a good thing. Perhaps it helped to heal some of the sadness that has been caused by people who conceive of themselves, who see themselves as very tolerant, but who actually are not as broad-minded as many people in other parts of the United States. I just hope that everyone can think about how you would feel if you found that your child were in a position where you hate to see them, or how you would feel if this was really something that you had to deal with. I really am pleased, and many of my friends who will not speak out, because many of our friends are also totally on the other side, and we like to be kind to everyone, but many of us do approve your proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Dave Mast, live at 1301 Jean. I am claustrophobic, so it's crowded in here. I'm a little bit arachnophobic. I don't like black widow spiders, but I am not homophobic. I just simply don't agree. But I think maybe we're kind of off base just a little bit, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but I think what this meeting is serving to do is probably cause a greater divide, because we are probably never going to agree. I have strong beliefs on one side, some have strong beliefs on the other side. And for government to get involved, I think it just widens the divide. It's just my opinion. I think it would serve us better if we did something that was more inclusive. And I know that in the multitude of counselors, we can find wisdom. So I appreciate decisions that are made for our entire council, because you do represent us. I'm a pastor in this community, and I did not bring my Bible, because the place for my beliefs is in my pulpit. This is the place for city government. And when we choose one side on a moral issue, I think what we do is we encourage debate that we will never win. What's going on in the Mideast shows us that when it comes to religious debates, they can go on for thousands of years. So I think this is not the place to debate these issues. I think this is the place for government. And so if we do something that is more inclusive and tolerant of all people, I think it would serve our community much better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Martin Kajumjian, 1932 West School Avenue. I'm like many others. I'm not for what's popular, but what is true. And it seems that our society is moving towards knowing all the polls and all the information, and if the mass is doing it, it must be right. And I don't think that is the case, and I'm sure that you know that's not necessarily the case.